And we are live on the Icecast Live. Good evening and welcome to the Icecast Live. I am Shane Shabesy and next to me is Mr. Ollie McManee. How you doing, Ollie?
I'm very good. Nice to see you. It's been a few weeks.
It has, hasn't it? Andy was on last time, I think, and
horror special, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. And we had a week off.
Yeah,
because we all just needed one, I think.
Yeah, and we chose to come back on literally my busiest week of the year so far. So if I wobble off halfway through, just give me an electronic nudge via the internet.
Are you busy at work? Are you, mate?
Very well. It's burning the candle at both ends. I've taken on a wonderful school full time, and today was a full day of teaching. And obviously with COVID, different schools are running different security measures. So it's split lunches, it's shortened lunches. There's a lot of roadworks going on, so it's taking twice as long to get there and back. And then, of course, it's all of the editing that I'm not complaining about for comiccon.com.
Well, yeah.
Time.
Well, at least you're doing something productive, aren't you? That's
yeah. How's your day been, Shane?
Oh, it's been a really good day, actually. Yeah, Dave, I've been working from home, but in my lunch hour and after I finished work, I've been in meetings. I've had some really good news about a comics event. I've had some funding, but I can't talk about it yet because I haven't announced it. So all I can say is I've had some good news. But yeah, it's made me very, very busy, but in a good way, Good.
That's good to hear.
So tonight we're going to be talking to Neil Roche and Chris Denton about the new Killing Moon comic. They've already published a Killing Moon book before, but this is the second one. And they're about to launch a Kickstarter, I believe, early May. So we're going to have a chat to them before they launch about the book and about what people can expect. So without any further ado, Sam, if you can run the VT, we will get cracking.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening. Welcome to the Icecast. Whoa, someone was still playing the music there. A little bit of a delay, but it looks like everybody's online and ready to go. Neil, are you online with us? We had some technical issues earlier. No.
That bit of string ain't working.
Oh, well, we did try our best to get Neil running, but it seems that he has had some technical problems. So we'll keep him open. We'll give him chance, but I'm sure Chris knows everything that we need to know.
Oh, you're on the spot now, Chris, aren't you? You
this is great.
Do you never get chance normally, Chris? You're usually in the background. Now I can shine.
Well, no, now we're going to talk about how the writing is the really important part of this book.
Brilliant. I love it. Hopefully Chris will be able to join us at some point. Sorry, you're Chris. Neil. Yeah, interchangeable. That's what it is. They're so close. It's such a close-knit unit. So, Chris, tell us all about Killing Moon, because this isn't the first book, is it? What is the what went on before?
So last year we released a graphic novel, Killing Moon, and that was our first Kickstarter. That was made up of 4 issues that Neil and I had put together over the last few years before that. So I'm the writer, Neil's the artist, Darren Stevens colours it, and Bolt 01, Dave Evans is the letterer, and Richmond Clemens is consultant editor. So we've been working on that for a few years. It was like a 4-issue mini-series. And we just took it to conventions. You remember conventions? They were great. I'm sure you do remember conventions. So used to take it up to Thought Bubble, and it got really good reception. So tried Kickstarter. That went really well, and it was lovely to see it in a book. And we also ended it on a cliffhanger. So we thought, right, we better do some more. And so this Killing Moon Rises, this Kickstarter, is for the first issue of the second 4-issue limited series.
Right. So we can expect another book eventually at the end of the series, can we?
Oh, I really hope so. You kind of the thrill of it was my first. I've done plenty of comics, but this was my first collection to a book, and the thrill, it was brilliant. It's lovely to have something on the shelf with your name on the spine. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, there'll definitely be another book. Hopefully, that will be filled with pages of comics and not just blank pages. So we'll be working on that.
Cool. We've had a message from Neil saying that he's having Wi-Fi problems. And we've also had a message from Trish Roche. So I assume that's Neil's wife.
Yeah,
could only happen to Neil.
At least he didn't slip and write wife problems by accident.
Yeah,
otherwise he'd be in real trouble.
Maybe he didn't mean to write that. I don't know. We won't get him into trouble though.
Well, it sounds like Trish is on the case.
Yeah.
Hello, Neil McClements. How are you, Neil?
Hey, Neil. There's another Neil. Oh.
Yeah, Neil McClements. Oh, yeah.
Hey,
all the Neils are on today.
Neil's a very talented artist. He's contributed some pin-ups, variant covers, and I'm working on him now on a strip for the second issue of Killing Moon Rises. So we're going to have because we've got backup strips in this series. So
cool.
Which is pretty exciting. More work for me, but pretty exciting.
So are these like stories about individual characters? These backup strips, are they like supplementary stories?
Yeah, so they are about individual characters and supplementary stories, because it's a team book. It's about a group of assassins, essentially, in a fantasy world, and so that works over a kind of a slightly longer format, a kind of weird British medieval Justice League or anti-Justice League, but for backup stories, you focus on one character. So we've been focusing on the main character, who's Moses Valentine, who's like a quite an elder, so not mine. So it was quite interesting, the origin of this, because it's actually originally Killing Moon is from the 1980s, and it was created by Neil's brother, who's also a very talented artist, and Neil wanted to revive it like 25 years later.
Wow, so, that's incredible.
Yeah, and we'd worked together on a Massacre for Boys strip, and so he mentioned this to me, and I thought, yeah, great. And he liked my kind of initial ideas for it, so we got going. So and Moses in our new strips, he's in his 60s, because although it's not quite the same Moses, but Neil really wanted to age him from the 1980s onwards, and I thought, yeah, that's a cool idea. We'll do that.
Okay, a bit like Dread, aging in real time.
Absolutely. Yeah, but because obviously this is like British comics, so we do things like that, but then Neil's very influenced by classic American comics as well, so we're kind of a mishmash. The cover for Killing Moon Rises is a tribute to Days of Future Past. Really neat the way he's done it. So
I see that. I think we could share that, can't we?
Yeah, we could.
We've got that artwork. I'm going to try and bring Neil in. It looks like Neil might be back. Sorry, Ollie. Looks like Neil might be back with us.
The cover
Oh wow!
For Killing Moon Rises
There's a massive delay. That is an incredible delay. Let's have a look at the artwork anyway, Sam.
It looks like Neil might. Sorry.
I'm just going to mute Neil because of the.
Neil might be back with us.
It's like being in a TARDIS.
It is. It is.
Hello, Neil.
I have muted Neil because of the massive
Well, if we say hello to Neil now, on Sunday he can say hello back.
So I can see that. I can see the influence now on Days of Future Past. Yeah, I mean that has been sort of parodied and
homaged, I think, is the word you're looking for.
So many times, hasn't it? Yeah. I mean, but it always works because it's such a cool concept, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's me on there. So one of the Kickstarter rewards is actually going to be you can have your face on there. So as a kind of former victim of the Killing Moon assassins. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Are these just placeholders at the moment, then, Chris? These illustrations on the cover.
So I think there's going to be 2 editions of it. Neil has the details, but I believe that I hope I do appear on a physical comic.
There we go. Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
So who are these 3 characters on the cover then?
Curly, Larry, and Mo. No.
So on the left, that's Mr. McKee. He's a thoroughly nasty piece of work. And in the middle there, that's Moses Valentine with his cat Jack, who's always on his shoulder or nearabouts. And on the right here is a vampire called Lord Ruthven, because we've gone for a dark fantasy angle. Yeah. So there are vampires and werewolves and things, as well as orcs and dwarves. Oh, dwarves might be spoilers, actually. There might be dwarves.
Well, it is now you said it. Now everyone's going to think, right, what the dwarves got to do with the story? You could have left it there, Chris, and no one would be any wiser. Just another fantasy character.
So we've got the sort of the concept that it's a fantasy action adventure. What timeline is it set in? What period in time?
Once upon a time, of course, you idiot.
That's a really good question, though, Shane, because the original Killing Moon from the 1980s was set in a post-apocalyptic future. So there's like this ruined tower blocks and things in that. But I didn't really want to do that. And Neil was very open about the setting. So I've put it directly into a fantasy world because I've always wanted to write proper fantasy, high fantasy. I love Warhammer and Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons and all of that. So it's all of that. And this character here, her name's Ingrid. And
she's had a bad day, hasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. So she's a main character as well, but she was heavily involved in the shock ending that we put in. So when we join the story in Killing Moon Rises, which is absolutely like the minute after,
right? It carries straight on.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. So then we carry on, and obviously, the very first thing we find out basically is why Ingrid is in that state.
Yeah.
Oh, now this is the first of the backup strips for Killing Moon Rises #1. So this is illustrated by Darren Stevens. So he colours the whole thing, but he's come in on art duties here. He's a great artist as well. Yeah. And so this one, which this is A Tale of the Killing Moon, and the title of it is me mishearing a line from Flash Gordon, and we've spun a little story out of that.
I like it.
So if you're familiar with the film or with the Queen single, there's a line which I always heard as dispatch Warwick and Ajax to bring back his body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently it's War Rocket Ajax, but
Is it? Oh well, there you go. We're all educated now, aren't we?
But I've always wanted to use this imaginary pairing of Warwick and Ajax, so I've got it here, and there's Darren's interpretation of Moses. So, like you asked, absolutely right. We're just focusing on Moses in this, and Jack.
Cool. I like the page layout with where there's sort of the roots of the tree come down and behind the panels into the bottom half of the page. It works really well. Yeah,
it's a nice page.
Absolutely, and that's all Darren. Darren's done a fantastic job on this. In fact, when he agreed to do it, I got in touch and said, "Is there anything you want to do? Is there anything you don't want to do?" And he said, "Oh, I'd like to do, a monster." So he likes that. So I was like, "Oh, fine, no problem." Anything you don't want to do? Oh, I don't want to do skeletons. Oh, definitely, because there's like a skeleton army in the first book, and maybe he didn't like that. So I was like, "Okay, fine." Yeah, fine. Absolutely won't do that. And here we are on the first page, and he's put skulls all over it.
It's just subconscious. He's
just
saw that many skeletons. He can't help himself now. It's just like skeleton. Doesn't feel right not having a skull in there somewhere.
I mean, it looks amazing. It really does. But yeah. He was torturing himself to do it.
I remember when I did art college, and the memory's still with me. The very first week, we were all placed in the one room, and there was a skeleton. It was like, right, you've got a week to draw that. And for the whole week, from 8:30 in the morning till 3:30 in the afternoon, that's all we had to do. Being an impatient artist, I'd finish after a day and discovered all the pubs of Wrexham on day 2.
Here's Neil. Is it third time lucky?
Yeah, you say that, is it?
How you doing, Neil? Can you hear us?
Oh, Neil.
It's not looking good, is it? It's
not
looking good.
Neil was saying, Chris, this is a reboot.
This is Neil's reboot, everybody.
Rather than a continuation, like you said, you can't go from a post-apocalyptic future to an imaginary past, I suppose, without having a complete reboot. But it's interesting that Neil has decided to age one of the characters in real life, even though this is a reboot. Do we know why that might have been the case? And are other returning characters aged as well?
So, really, another excellent question. So, there are no returning characters from other returning characters yet.
Right.
Yet.
Okay. They're all dead. They're all dead. Spoilers.
No. Right. So what Neil did for the book of the first Killing Moon is he put our new version on the front, and the old version of the team, he drew that and put them on the back cover.
Right.
And to me, it's like Justice League, Justice Society. And as soon as he did that, I'm like, I'm desperate to get them all together.
Right.
So it is possible that if we keep going long enough, we will have our own version of a Flash of Two Worlds.
Nice.
We might.
Another good excuse for a decent homage cover as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be nice.
Oh, we lost Neil again. I mean, I love stories like that, to be honest. I mean, I do enjoy all these sort of. I loved it when they introduced Justice Society, into Justice League and all that sort of stuff. But it does get a bit confusing sometimes. How do you keep track of all that, Chris?
Well, so when I was a kid, I had this British reprint of a Batman story, and it had 2 versions of every character. It was the Batman family. We had old Batman and talking to Batwoman and Batwoman, and it was just like I had no idea what was going on, but I've always remembered it.
I think that's part of the fun, I guess, isn't it? Trying to work out what's going on.
But and then a bit later, I got hold from Forbidden Planet in London of some of those All-Star comics from the 70s, which well, because that was the Justice Society, but the pre-crisis Justice Society with the Batman and the Superman, and amazing. I've got the collections. Over there.
They're good, aren't they?
I absolutely love them. I don't like crisis because I don't like that it got rid of the multiverse, and I love it. I love it when every time someone brings the multiverse back and you get the like Earth 2 Superman again. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, I used to love those stories. Earth 2 Superman had a little grey flecks in his hair because he was a bit older.
And slightly different S. Yeah,
slightly different S. Yeah, we've got a few comments. I'll just read them out. That's what we got. Hi, Neil and Chris. Best of luck with the new Killing Moon comic from Ed Doyle. Thanks, Ed. How you doing, mate? Our regular guest or viewer, awesome. Hello from V2A. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? And we've got Maureen Haig. Neil's mum-in-law is watching. Come on, Neil.
Bless. Yeah, come on, Neil. Your whole family's having a pop at you, Neil.
I think Neil's banging his head against the wall at home. Chris, thanks for taking up the reins, mate.
You're welcome, Neil. You're welcome.
I think you're doing a really good job, mate. You can punish Neil later. What we got? Another comment there from John Jacko Smith. Hi all. All right, John, how's it going, mate? Nice to see you. It's nice to see people on the comments there. And Neil is attempting now to come back. Whilst
Neil's attempting, Chris, another question. I'm intrigued to wonder whether, as this is a new series and you've already got one in the bank, so to speak, I wonder if part of the preparation for this is a kind of expectation that there's at least a baked-in audience for this now, so you can plan further ahead, maybe, as you're implying with, maybe in the future we'll have a parallel universe story and then other kinds of stories. Is that something at the back of your mind when you come to do the Kickstarter, the fact that there are now fans along for the ride with you?
Yeah, I think so. So Kickstarter is brilliant. It's such a great way of getting independent comic books out to people. And so, we have seen that we do have an audience, and that does give us a kind of green light to continue as long as people still like what we're doing. And it means that we can make the stories a little bit more sophisticated. Neil, that was you.
Hey, Neil. He's there.
His wife or his mother-in-law's kids.
Hey! Oh, bloody miracle. We've got the Roche in the house.
I'm on. Hey! God, I don't know where that was.
We've asked all the important questions to Chris now, mate.
Yeah, I know. Drink to that,
just drink your beer.
Chris has been doing brilliant.
you carry on, Chris. You carry on, Chris, before you were rudely interrupted, eh?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say how important the artist contribution is to.
We covered the art, haven't we? We're on to writing now.
Oh dear! At last,
I heard the question about. I heard the question about like the following and the audience that we've built. What one of the ideas I'd like to do? I mean, this is going further down. Is different, different versions of Killing Moon, because obviously we're going for the medieval feel. But maybe a post-apocalyptic Killing Moon as the original one, maybe set in space. So look at Chris now. I can see the cogs. The cogs are whirring.
No.
Set in space.
We're gonna have a multiverse.
General genres. Yeah.
I have to admit that the space. Well, you could do. Yeah, you could do.
Killing Moon in space. Yeah,
I thought Neil was going to say Killing Moon in Spain. I was worried he was
Spain.
I don't know where I got that from. Post-apocalyptic set in Spain, but it was in Spain.
Or in Spain.
Oh, dear. Or they're just on the holiday in what's that place in Spain where everyone goes on holiday? I can't remember what it's called now.
Killing Moon.
Tenerife, yeah, assassins in Tenerife. Could be like an assassin hideout, they all go to hide
all
in
in trunks and bikinis.
Yeah. Oh dear, we've had another comment. What we got? Jatinder, hello everyone. I posted this 5 minutes ago. It's only just appeared. How do I know it appeared 5 minutes later? Twilight moment. Brilliant. Brilliant. Neil's just reading it tomorrow. Oh, you made it, Neil.
Oh,
You
you got
made
your fan club out.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
here. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So
So,
what
yeah,
like
so-
Neil,
Go on,
coming back
sorry.
to characters from 25 years ago then, and sort of
Yeah. The story is the original Killer Moon, which was done by my brother, was in a Manchester publication called Totally Alien, which was fairly small press, but I think it sold around 30,000 copies a month.
That's
And was-
by
and was-
today's
yeah.
standards. That's what Marvel
Yeah.
comics sell
I know,
worldwide
yeah,
now.
and it was very, very popular in the States.
Mm.
The star artist was a certain Steve Yowl.
oh yeah, man.
For Totally Alien, and he did a story called, I think it was called Space Hawker, which was a bit of a comedy, very, very well written as well. And then 2000 AD nicked him
Yes,
to do
they did
Zenith.
indeed.
So yeah,
Zenith was
So-
cool. I loved Zenith.
yeah, it was fantastic. And my brother did 2 episodes of Killing Moon, and then just gave it up. Really, it was too much like hard work for him. So, and that-
Yeah, 30,000 fans. That's
yeah,
it's not enough,
yeah.
is it? Really, you know what I mean?
What happened was, me and our kid were going to watch Dread at the cinema, and I'd started doing comics and everything. He said, "So, when are you going to start drawing Killer Moon again?" And he was like, okay. Well,
So there was
am
an
I okay to do it?
expectation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, do whatever you want. And Chris will know the writer. Locust to Death. Matt McLaughlin from the States. Matt, yeah. Who's
Did El Bigotti, didn't he?
He did El Bigotti, yeah. And I worked on a strip with him for Dr. WTF for Owen Watts, called Cosmic Extra, and we got on really well. And then he disappeared. And then I worked with Chris on a few strips, the Emu strip, Emu Wars. And then Chris picked up the mantle to write, and he's done a buzzing job, really. Keeps me on my toes, pushing.
I just stop you there. Emu Wars. What's that?
Emu Wars.
I just got this vision of all these emus fighting each other over.
Yeah, not each other.
No, it's even better. Even better.
Please tell me the concept.
Clone army of
Emu
Rob
Wars.
and the clone army of emus at it.
It's a real
With rock
historical
bags.
event. Seriously, it's a real historical event in Australia, in the Western Australia in the early 1930s. They were overrun by hordes of emus, and it became such a problem that it got talked about in the Australian Parliament, and it got called the Emu Wars. And then they sent the Australian Army to try and deal with it. And the emus basically were too nimble. So the army did.
They kicked their ass.
Yeah, that's it. The emus won. The emus won.
I thought history was written by the women. Where's the textbook?
Yeah, but they can't write. Emus can't write, can they? That's the problem.
So
if they could, they'd have written the history.
So Neil and I, we worked on a strip which showed some of this from it was semi-historically accurate.
Did the emus talk, for example?
No, but they do. They fly at the end, don't they? Which is not totally 100% right.
Flying emus.
Right.
That's more scary than Sharknado, I think. Flying emus. That puts the fear of God into me. That does.
Yeah, but we very much enjoyed working together on that. So yeah.
And so that was the sort of proto Killing Moon, then the sort of genesis of how you guys started working together.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd seen Neil's artwork because I think we both worked on the Ron Smith tribute comic, There were some 2000 AD fans put together a couple of tribute comics. The idea was you make one physical copy and you give it to the creator who's inspired you. And there was one for Carlos, and then there was one for Ron Smith. And me and my brother did a little thing because we grew up with the Ron Smith dread, and then I'd seen Neil's contribution in there, and I thought I've got to get him for Massacre for Boys if I can. And I think I approached him, and he said yes, and we did the Emu thing, and then like you say, you wanted to do a longer comic, didn't you, Neil? And you were working with Matt, but then he dropped. I think he didn't disappear.
Yeah.
He moved back to America, didn't he? I think that's what happened.
Oh, he didn't actually disappear then. He wasn't abducted or anything.
No. Matt was it's a weird situation. Matt was based in the UK. His wife was in the American Air Force. Then divorced, and he moved back to the US and started El Bigotti, and then nothing really happened after that. He just disappeared.
But he left a vacancy, which I was happy to fill. Yeah, and the opportunity to do this fantasy strip was too good to you. You're right about Rod Hull.
Nice one, Neil. Someone had to mention Rod Hull, didn't
Yeah. He's had his hand up somewhere, didn't he?
Oh, the old jokes are the best, aren't they?
But Neil's comments thrown us off your thought process there, Chris.
Oh, I was that was the story of how we met.
Yeah.
We should have played some music in the background.
And getting back to the forthcoming Kickstarter, I know you want to keep a lot obviously hidden away, but can you tell us maybe about any of the rewards or possible stretch goals that you're thinking of, maybe?
Go for it, Neil.
If you can.
I think he's frozen again.
Good. It's going to be another Norman Collier night.
Yeah. We should get... Oh, no, he's dead, isn't he? We can't get Norman Collier.
Oh, man.
That was a very mank thing to say, though. Oh, man.
So I do. Yes, stretch goals.
Stretch goals, rewards. What can people expect on the Kickstarter?
Right. So the basic stuff. Edition of the comic. You can get a comic with the graphic novel. If you haven't got that already, get them together. There's also variant covers. There's a sketch cover.
Okay.
There's Alex Mines has done a glorious variant cover we can have as well.
Oh, right.
The T-shirt like Neil's modelling. And one of the premium rewards is that you can have your disembodied head shoved on a spike. In artistic terms, I
was going to say, in real life, that'd be great. Cheers. Is anyone out there feeling like they want that being done to them? There you go. Bid on this Kickstarter.
Yeah. So in this issue, we go to hell. So there's a little bit of there's a little bit of that. So in fact, that's why the first page it says the mortal plane, because we do jump around a bit between a few different planes of existence. And then there's this is Neil's idea for Lucifer. So it's a gorgeous piece of art. This is all him with the face in the stomach. I think he's found that from demonic sources. I think
he's got mouths. He's got mouths all over the place, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got three faces on his head as well. I think but the angelic wings, and these are the question marks where you can put if you so choose.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So we could feature on there. How much is it? How much is it, Chris, to have your head on a spike?
Right. So here you go.
There we go.
It seems to be £30.
Yeah.
Banking.
Yeah, the comic. And
Do you have to supply your own spike?
Do you have to? Yes.
I imagine that's where Neil Head's going to go after this interview.
Yeah. I think he's just run a spike through his own head, just in desperation. Oh, that's great. I think that's quite reasonable, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a number of fun rewards here. See, these the sketch rewards. So there's there's the blank cover.
That's a nice one to have, isn't it?
Yeah,
cool.
Yes. So if you want the Punisher on that, we could do that for you. I mean, it might be a bit strange.
Yeah.
Again, that's only £40. So you've got your comic, your blank cover, and a drawing of your favourite character on it as well.
Yes, exactly. Your
already comes with the Invisible Woman on it, I see.
What was that, Ollie?
It already comes with the Invisible Woman drawn on it.
That's
a play on the old pandering, the old polar bear in the snow trick. But for comic foot cut geeks.
So, no, but Ollie, I love that technique. But the one I use is sometimes I have a panel which is just completely black ink. So I find myself doing that a lot. But yeah, I know the opposite of the snowstorm, but it's the same thing. It's I'll give the artist the panel off.
Yeah, let him do a silhouette. Yeah, good old silhouettes. When you're up against the deadline, a page of silhouettes, that'll do it.
And there's one of Neil McClemence's drawings.
Ooh, that's
wow,
nice.
That's a really great take on your satanistic devil character, isn't it?
Well, and this is why I'm looking forward to working with Neil on a strip, which is what we're doing at the moment, because his art's fantastic, and
that is beautiful. Yeah.
It's a good representation of his art style, that as well, in that he does work in a lot of black and whites, heavily leaning into the blacks as well. So I really like Neil's style, I must admit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, and he's very influenced. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Neil.
Yeah, we guessed that,
Neil. Pay the
bill. Get decent Wi-Fi.
Cheap mank.
Oh, we're starting a war now. We're starting a war between the Liverpudlian and a mank. Oh dear. Let's not do that.
No, trying to avoid that. So Neil McClements is very influenced by European illustrators. So I've talked about British and American, but now we're going to go in the European directions. See if we can get the whole world. Maybe we'll do.
Well, I think those backup strips give you that extra element, almost that extra USP, where you can invite guest artists in. You can tell a character's story in a bit more space and let that character breathe. And I love the idea of your first story being based on a misheard line from Flash Gordon. So it seems to work very well. Well,
no, thank you. So what we're trying to do with this sort of second run is we're trying to make build on what we've done already. So because it's fantasy, so it's going to be world building. That's kind of half the fun of it. So we could really go into a bit more depth this time. In the first book, I wanted to concentrate on this is action, this is fun, sell the concepts, tell you who all the people are, and now we're going a bit deeper. So this run has a bit more of a continuing story and has a bit more of a kind of looking into the past and what these people want and that kind of thing. And I really love the opportunity to do that, and it's not that easy in independent comics because especially in the UK where a lot of it is based on the British style of like 5-page strips and one thing I cannot do is a future shock.
Oh really?
Absolutely. I've been trying. I've given up now, but basically since the age of about 12, I'm like, yeah, I can get in. I can do a future shock. I can do a future. No, I can't.
I mean, it's not for everyone, is it? I mean, it is a very specific style of writing, and some writers have got it down to an art that sort of formulaic way of doing a future shock. And I think for a lot of writers, maybe for yourself, you like to sort of express yourself a little bit more with a longer form story, and hopefully with this, extended series, you'll be able to do that, and you'll go, because I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like you were saying before, if something is very short, like the original like graphic novel, you're telling a specific story, you only get so much chance for character development and world building and all those other fun things that a writer gets to do. So I guess the plan for this series is to extend all those things.
Absolutely, but keep it fun. I've got some quite cool action ideas as well, but absolutely to just go into a bit more depth. I find that once you really get under the skin of the characters, it makes the dialogue a bit better, a bit stronger, and then it drives the action forward. And I mean, so a previous, because I wrote Massacre for Boys before this, and that with my brother, it was that was about 20 years of working with him. My brother Stephen is a comic artist and professional colorist, and I found that just as I was getting to the end, I was like, okay, I think I'm quite good at this now. If I do it all again, I think it will be really good. But it's like, I think he kind of feels like that. Then it's like, okay, I think we've used this, we've honed our skills, and now we'll probably be all right. It's just it took us quite a long time to get to the point where we want to get to, and I think with Killing Moon, working with Neil, working continuously on the same characters and story, I think we've got there much more quickly. I think that's how I feel. I'm not disparaging my previous stuff, but sometimes you get if I didn't feel like I was getting better, then I'd probably stop. So at least
it's hard to stay motivated, isn't it? If you don't feel and it doesn't matter what other people think either, does it? If you don't feel that you're moving forward in what you're doing, it's really hard to stay motivated. You've got to have that sense of movement, haven't you?
That's right. And then you get really excited. So good to hear Neil is as well with his ideas for different ways of doing it. Because I was thinking, well, I've got one story takes me up to the end of issue 8, and then but then it's like, but I've got lots more stories now. But it depends. It depends if Neil wants to draw it, and if it's his thing. If he wants me to carry on writing it, and if people want to carry on reading it, I hope they do.
I hope so too. But I think that it's unusual as well, isn't it? Because it's the artist that is the sort of driving, the creator, as it were. It's usually the other way around. In a lot of these indie books, I find it's a writer who's come up with an idea and they want an artist to draw it. It's a bit of a switcheroo. But do you feel a sense of ownership of now that you've worked on it for a while?
No, but it's tremendously right. It's tremendously liberating. What I really like is the constraints. So if someone gives you a blank piece of paper, it's like, okay, right, War and Peace. No, yeah, but if someone says, and it needs to have a dragon in it, and and I don't like drawing wheat fields and that kind of thing, it's like, great. I can work with this. So I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the collaboration, and I know that there's it's really old fashioned view of like it's the writers that do the creating, but absolutely not. And in fact, it makes me there are circumstances where if only the writer gets credited, which used to happen, didn't it?
Well, it still happens, mate. To be honest, don't get me started on that one. There's a few books. There's a few high-profile books being advertised at the moment where the artist hasn't got a cover credit, which boils my blood. I'm not going to mention any names, but they know who they are.
No, so this is Neil's. This is Neil's baby. I'm working with him, but the thing I feel ownership of is Massacre for Boys with
Mm.
my brother. That's but that was like that and that's like a like a British comics parody that we did from when we were both young kids. And so so that I feel ownership of, but co-ownership, because he was there at the start as
Yeah.
well. And Shane, you published. I know I'm not telling you about this, but when we got it published first, it was Small Zone. It was you that published it. So
I remember it. I remember Mask of the Boys. I remember carrying the book. I don't remember. I think it sold a little. I think we did have sales with it, but I do remember it, and I remember you guys being at ICE as well because you got interviewed for. I think it was a TV interview, or it might have been one of our promo videos. I remember you guys sitting there doing your little talk about Mask for Boys and why people should read it and all that sort of stuff. It was. Oh, you were always good guys at the shows. You came along, you did your thing, and always had a nice table. It was very good.
I really enjoy being interviewed, which is quite fortunate, I guess.
It is tonight.
Yeah, you got no one to hide behind, have you?
Yeah. He probably came on. I mean, he probably came on thinking, "Oh, yeah, it's all right. Neil will do most of the talking. I'll just sit there and look pretty."
Well, the thing is, right? We haven't seen this tonight, sadly, but Neil is a consummate salesman. He's so good at the shows, and I mean, it's wonderful to see him work. So I'm sure he'd be desperate to get back out there again to do that.
But when he sorts his Wi-Fi out, we'll get him back on the show. Definitely, maybe for book 2. We'll have a Neil special.
That would be very, very, very kind. But I mean, we're already working on it, so it won't be that far away. It won't be that far away.
I mean, that's the thing about series on Kickstarter, isn't it? I mean, the pace that you produce and the pace that you publish is sort of dictated by how quickly you can turn around Kickstarters if you're using that technique, because you can't have like one running while another one's running. Is that right?
Well, you shouldn't. I think that's right. So with comics Kickstarters, I think you want it to be quick turnaround, don't you? I mean, sooner or later, if people are left waiting, then they start to turn. So well. No, I've seen that, and there's always a risk with the Kickstarter that it's not going to ever happen. And I hold my hands up. I backed a Kickstarter once, which was sending a satellite to the moon. And
really,
funnily enough, that didn't happen. there was a whole thing. Brian Cox promoted it, and and they raised like £500,000 or something, but it didn't happen. But that's like
£500,000 go then.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good question.
£500,000 you shouldn't be able to make a graphic novel in golding for that.
No, but this. No. So but this wasn't for a graphic novel. This was literally
to actually send a satellite,
start a space mission. And I think they spent the money. I think they spent the money on.
I bet they did. On a new.
But okay, so that's the example of what Kickstarter's bad at. So, come and finance our space mission. But
not
what it's
good.
What it's good at is something like this, where you can raise a bit of money to pay for the costs of the publication. But you, thanks.
Yeah, Neil. I like it.
But then you can turn it around quite quickly, and digital printing is so good these days, isn't it? And then people have it in their hands, and then it's onto the next one. And people I very much admire of Steve Tanner, who've
Taiwan Comics.
That's Steve on here. Yeah, he's very good at doing his Kickstarters. He's got it down to an art now.
He's got a good spiel about him as well as Steve at shows.
Yeah, and Dave Cook as well. He's very good at the Kickstarters with the Killtopia stuff. They've been really successful.
Which has been optioned for a TV show, hasn't it?
Yeah, animation. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Can't wait
after
to
it,
get that
just
through.
after it appeared on here, I think it was.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh, was it? Oh, if there are any producers, you know, I think the rights are still available.
Well, we know Neil Roche's family's all watching. One of them might be a producer. You never know.
Yeah, I think the whole family are on tonight, aren't they? Hello, the Roche family. Hope you're having a nice evening. Sorry, Neil didn't make an appearance. But Chris is doing an excellent job.
Yeah.
A little question for you, Chris. This is a little bit controversial, I guess. What are your thoughts on this spate of celebrity Kickstarters doing comics? No, I'm not going to mention names, but we all know who they are. What do you think of that? What are your thoughts on it, or do you not have any?
No, well, I think it's a completely different thing. I don't. I mean, I like it. I mean, Neil recently backed one of those and got the reward. So he could, if he was here, tell us about the final quality of the item. But I don't think it's too bad. I know what inevitably is going to happen is that pushes that gets all the publicity and is the Kickstarter top pick or whatever, and the independent stuff is all pushed aside and you have to drill down to find it. But I don't think that's happened, certainly not at the moment.
No.
So I'm okay with it. I think Kickstarter works for bringing a whole different array. I mean, it seems to be really good for independent comics, and like with comic shows. I mean, like when I went to a comic show that I think you organised or co-organised, Shane, and Mike Mignola was there, and it's like, well, this is brilliant, but that doesn't mean that no independent comics get sold as well. I think it's
I agree. I mean, I agree totally. I think it's a good comparison as well. I mean, if you have a comic show with a big name or a couple of big names like Mike Mignola, and I think we had Kevin Nolan that year as well, everyone else at the show benefits from that who's doing their indie stuff, because you got more people through the door. Some indie guys will say, oh, well, they're all just queuing for Mike Mignola, but they're not going to queue for Mike Mignola all day. They're going to have a look around. They're going to have a look at other stuff. So I think you need a bit of everything. And I think that, you know, the big names being on Kickstarter actually is attracting more people to Kickstarter, more people to comics as well. I mean, some of the backers, well, obviously by the numbers, the logic dictates that some of the backers of these big projects have not read comics before. So that's a good thing, surely, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'd read somewhere this last week that Kickstarter had a really good year last year. Ironically, having sacked a lot of their staff the year before. But we won't dwell on that. But I find it great to see, and I'm with you on this, Shane. If the big boys and girls come to play at Kickstarter, it's going to draw eyeballs to Kickstarter. I certainly look at Kickstarter more now than I ever have done, I think. And part of that is to check out maybe what Scott Snyder's got next, maybe what, you know, Keanu Reeves has got next. And I will stick around to check up. And I'm quite surprised by the quality of the indie stuff that's on there now. And I think what COVID has taught us, and the shrinking of an industry, is that for comics to survive, there needs to be other avenues other than working for the big two, and hopefully getting a series with Image Comics, for example.
Oh, Alex. Alex is a very talented artist who's contributed. He's contributing the variant cover, as I mentioned, and he's contributed a pin-up before. Yeah.
Very good stuff,
hello,
Alex. Nice to see you in the chat.
Yeah.
So, are any other artists lined up then? I noticed that it might not be information that you have, Chris, but I noticed that Neil said he lined up three artists.
Two of them, I think.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. And so we've got an artist for issue 3 as well. So for the Tale of the Killing Moon in issue 3, I won't announce it. We'll save that for. I personally, I love the opportunity to work with different artists, and it gives us the opportunity to have a bit of a bigger page count. Since I'm still, since Neil's still doing the main strip in everything. So there's no less Neil. There's just more of other people.
Yeah.
We couldn't get any less Neil tonight, could we?
Well,
so there you go. Oh, we've got another Neil commenting again. I learned my table selling at my first ever con, ICE in Birmingham, sharing with David Lloyd.
Oh, I bet
Baptism
that was
fire.
Hey,
Wow.
how much wine did you drink that one day, Neil, sitting next to Dave?
Dave actually has a really cool way of selling his stuff. It's really good. He just sits there with his white shirt, looking really cool. No hard sell, no nothing. It's just like, yeah, I'm cool. You're gonna buy my stuff, and it works.
So that works because of V for Vendetta and because of his great history
and his lovely white shirts. Don't forget those.
Yeah.
Never spilled a drop of red wine on them all day long. It's quite impressive.
Genius. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. Brilliant. I love David.
There was one thing I wanted to say about Kickstarter celebrities. That I think one of the very first things I ever backed on Kickstarter was by a young writer called Alan Moore. So
that chap.
Yeah, I like to think I gave him a bit of a leg up, but he had show pieces on there. You know, his Northampton short films that he was doing. I financed one of those on Kickstarter. So then that was very that took a little while to appear as well. But you know, you got to wait sometimes.
Well, some of these projects, they take a bit of work, don't they, to get them off the ground?
No, but that when that did appear, that was brilliant. I didn't think he could do anything but comics, but that I don't know if you've seen showpieces, but that is
I've not
so
actually.
Good. Oh,
I've not seen it. No, I want to, but you know, there's only so many hours in the.
No, absolutely, but it's a pretty good example of what Kickstarter is good for, because it's like. You know, he needed financing, and then he got it, and subsequently I think they're making it. Well, I know they're making a feature film of it now. The show.
Oh, really? Wow.
Cool.
And he acts in it. He writes and acts in it. So you know, it is worth checking out.
I've got to see it, man.
It's very Alan Moore. Do you know what I mean? It's quite surreal. I think there's a still of him all dressed in silver and all painted in silver glitter as well. And just say, yeah, that looks like an Alan Moore story come to life to me.
There you go. Neil's announced it.
Oh,
hey, thank you, Neil, for the exclusive.
Neil McClement, Stephen Denton, and Gary O'Donnell.
Wow.
Yes. So
yeah, that Steve Denton sounds a familiar name, Chris.
Yeah, that is my brother. He is contributing a guest illustration. I think that'll be
Stephen. So his middle name Stephen, is it?
No, it's. I call his artist name. His name is Steve, but he's credited as Stephen Denton. So
I love it.
Well, you know, so we do the opposite to each other. So he's always Stephen in credits, and I'm always Chris and never Christopher. So, it's just
Chris is cooler in credits anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's certainly easier for the letterer.
He's talking about David there, isn't he? He drank lots of wine.
Yeah. Thanks for the answer, Neil. Yeah, he does. But he handles it well, I must admit. He's a consummate raconteur.
Definitely. What we got here? The first stretch goal print is going to be by the wonderful Ali Fell. There you go. Another exclusive. Probably not, but you know.
Well, let's hope we meet our first target, so we can reveal that, because that'd be awesome.
So what is the target? What you aiming for, mate?
Oh, I can see it. 400 quid goal. That's very, very. Is that right? 400 quid.
I mean, that's provisional, but I'm sure that's going to be around level. Yeah. So fingers crossed. I think.
Yeah.
I think you'll do that. I mean, it's a wise thing sometimes, isn't it, to go for the lowest goal possible, just to get over the finish line, as it were, and then add to the stretch goals to sort of minimise your own costs, as it were.
Well, I mean, so what we're not doing is paying for people's time. So this is the cost can contribute to the production costs, the physical printing and postage and stuff. So that's why you can have a stretch goal that's like that. If we were, so if it was one of these celebrities, they have to have much higher goals, don't they? Because everyone's on top rate.
That's it. They've got to pay the celebrity thousands to just turn up.
It seems to me, though, Chris, that it seems to be very. Like I think you've said it yourself, but it seems to me this is very much a labour of love for everyone involved. If that's the goal.
He's thinking about it. He's having to think about that one.
No, I think that's it's quite pure. It's quite a pure thing, Ollie, because there really is no financial motive behind it, right? So it's just I mean, I'm doing this for my own personal copy. I think that's it. And I really want other people to enjoy it, but it's not. It's not that it's written to be commercial and stuff. And if people like it, then that's really great. But it's exactly the comic that we want to make, and that is a labour of love, isn't it? And
I really like that.
Yeah, and absolutely. When you say the comics needs to grow beyond the big two, I mean, I think it has in a lot of ways, but I think that's absolutely right, because a lot of those comics are not labours of love. It's a different way, and I'm like, it's not my ambition to work for them, and I don't think it's, in some ways it's a healthy ambition, because it's like, well, you go and do Batman for a bit, but it's not yours. You're probably given 100 constraints. You can't change it. So it's like it might be cool. I mean, I love some Batman, but it's not like I don't know, not my ambition to do that.
It's not the be all and end all, is it? That's
I don't think it should be the pinnacle of anybody's career or any industry. I think
that's the way the comic market is moving, where big names are drawing back from other people's sandboxes. I mean, Kieran Gillen, for example, does a lot of co-creator stuff now. He still dips his toe. I mean, he's doing a wonderful job on Eternals at the moment. But to me, it seems he's definitely veering more and more. And why not to create your own, where you've got total control over where your characters go to, rather than every 5 years going, do you know what, we're just going to press reboot and start all again.
And I think it's good for everyone, isn't it? Like, I think it's good for the bigger companies as well, because these creators are able to go away and do their own thing. And then when they come back and do something for them, it can be their best work. It can be something that they want to do, that they've got a passion for, because it has to come across, even on the mainstream stuff. I mean, a good example for me is at the moment is what Ram V and Mike Perkins are doing on Swamp Thing. Beautiful stuff. For DC.
I look forward to John McCrae doing his guest in a few months' time. So it's a quality story, that. But again, it's a different Swamp Thing to the Alec Holland Swamp Thing. And Ram and Mike are clearly telling their own story.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing, and they're having a lot of fun.
Allowed them to do that. There's no reference to, in the 2 issues I've read, there's no reference to. I mean, this could be a completely different part of DCU altogether now that everything counts and everything is meaningful.
So I think that ability for creators to go away and do their own thing, and I think it's really important for the whole industry, and I think everybody benefits from it. Definitely.
And that's the way I want to see it go. I want to,
and I think it's inevitable, to be honest. Neil's left us another comment. Neil McClements. I'll pay for a new router. Neil's responded. The router's fine, bloody iPad.
Oh, it's an
there you go.
Oh, there you go.
I
Did you not listen to our comment an hour ago?
Don't use Apple products on StreamYard.
Paul Workman blames his tools.
It is something that they need to fix, actually, on StreamYard, this Apple problem.
Oh, Apple don't like anyone other than Apple products.
No.
It's not. I wouldn't be. It's not StreamYard's problem. It's Apple.
Well,
the Nazis of the IT world.
I should state that all of my co-hosts' opinions are
They
completely
can,
their
man.
own, and they do not represent ICE in any way.
Don't invite me on the show then.
Hey man, you can say what you like. You can say what you like. Anyway, we have approached we've gone past the end of the
I
hour.
really enjoyed it. It's a strange shit Neil hasn't been here to enjoy the
Yeah.
party with us.
It's been great chatting with you, Chris. It really has. Thank you so much for stepping in and being the main man tonight.
Yeah, man, whether you knew it or not.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Ollie. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have yourself a great evening. And Sam, can you run that VT and we'll say good night? Eventually.
Sam's already got his kids into bed. I think that's what it is.
He's gone for his pizza, hasn't he?
He needs the sack.
He needs the what? The sack?
He needs the sack. You need to get someone else in. He's too busy filming his own videos. He only comes on here as a 2018 presenter he can rob a couple of questions from.
Oh, he's such a robber. He really is. Oh, all right, then, as we're still on, I've got some comments. What we got? Oh, Neil saying, thank you. You were there in spirit, Neil. We do appreciate the effort, mate.
It's great he was able to contribute by giving us the exclusive on the artists involved.
Yes. And Trish enjoyed the banter. Well, you know, we always have a little. We do promise it.
Please.
In the VT, it does say banter, so we feel obligated to put some of the banter.
I know it's the banter bit comes under Dan Slott, who really is the king of banter, isn't he?
Exactly.
That was the easiest interview I've ever done at one of your ICE events.
What, Dan Slott? He just does all the talking, doesn't he? Well, good night, everyone. Good night, Chris. Good night, Neil.
To see you live later on in the year, Chris.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Have a great evening.
You too.